All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Arena podcast, aka the Wobcast, where today Firas and I are joined by nothing but ourselves and our thoughts.
Classic.
Yup. So,
Pumped up for cookies.
yeah, this week we got not a whole lot of news in about the cookies collabs, but we did get announced that we are going to be having a collab coming. With I guess some other gacha game called Cookie Run Kingdom. I don't have any experience with it. Just Sean B's video that he posted. That's about it. I know for us, you know a little bit more about those games. I don't know.
No, it's quite a few years ago when I was dabbling with it, but it was while I was still playing Summoners War though, and they are fun games. Like there's another one called Line Rangers. It's all the same, like under umbrella of called Line. It's a chatting app, but they also run games for some reason. Somehow it's a successful business model. But it works. Who am I to say? And it's the same. All of those games have the same thing where they have like $5 transactions for like the most insane value. Well, it's insane value when you compare it to Summoner's War.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you compare anything to Summoner's War, anything looks like insane value, right?
Yeah,
But
I mean, I saw in Sean B's video, it was like an automatic epic, which I guess is their like 4-star. So like it was like an epic plus or whatever for $3, which is basically a legendary scroll, right? Our 4-star plus is a legendary scroll. I mean, what's the cheapest legendary scroll you can buy? Like, I don't know.
$70 maybe.
Yeah, $70. I think that is actually the price of the pack. So I mean, that's pretty.
In US, yeah.
That's crazy.
For me, it's 100.
I wonder if Come To Us is just trying to like get us off of Summoners War. Maybe they're trying to send us over to a different game that's cheaper.
They really want to focus on Chronicles. They want to shut out Summoners War.
Yeah.
With this collab, get everyone over there.
That's nice of them.
Oh, it's very generous. I wonder though, after watching Sean B's video, if they're gonna have like those little crappy microtransactions.
Right. It makes sense. Well, it makes sense because if you get a bunch of players over from there, in the first pack you throw in their faces $100 purchasable 3 times, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck? Excuse me? I just want Ginger Brave, bro."
Well, that's probably the free one, but
no, it is. Exactly. I know, but like,
that's like the first thing. Well, let me go see because I still have all my packs. I don't like. Look at me, 140 Canadian. Imagine you get a Canadian
Could you
player.
Imagine.
Oh, $7, $8 Canadian. In Cookie Run, you come over here. Hey, you can buy this twice for $280.
Oh my god.
For what is it? Yeah, 2 scrolls, and then you go look at the guild update pack. You can buy this twice for again 140 each, and then 50 MS for a crappy bunch of 3-stars. What do you think? What do you think, Cookie Run players? Are you interested?
Now that we talk about that, I wonder like. I feel like that's almost like a sign that Summoners War isn't getting many new players at this point, right? Because like, I just feel like you wouldn't throw, like that's like instant. Okay, fuck this game. Like when you if you were a brand new player and you're like, they can buy this shit. Like especially too, you don't even know what that stuff is. You log on, you see like, I don't know, 4 Devilmon. You're like, to us experienced players, we're like, oh shit, 4 Devilmon. It's like half a nat 5 skill up. But to a new player, they're like, are you fucking kidding me? $100? That's true, yeah.
That's a massive.
Most of them are in the teens of Devilmons required, so a third, I guess.
Usually a 2-digit, minimum 2 digits. The odd one is 9.
But yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm curious now that you said that what they're gonna do if they do get like an influx of Cookie Run players. They're gonna make some cheapo packs that have some Cookie Run scrolls in them just to kind of get people spending.
Yeah, because they're not getting my money otherwise.
I'm undecided. I've been saving. I've got a lot of scrolls. So
okay, you cap all the time though. Okay, I'm actually serious. I will sometimes when I say I don't spend, it's it's true.
I mean, I'm capping right now because I said I've been saving, but these are literally just from the packs that I bought but didn't summon the scrolls. It's not really saving. It's just I just purchased the packs and didn't open the scrolls.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna open all these first before I spend a penny If I do get anything cool or good, I probably won't spend. I'll just take my new unit because okay, this is actually a good segue because supposedly there was leaks of the Chinese versions, like
Yeah,
the Summoners War versions,
yeah,
um, which usually means we don't get to use these in RTA for about four
yeah.
months or so.
That's very
Because
unfortunate.
typically the company, like, just to kind of go over how these collabs work, if
Hmm.
Summoners War is taking in Cookie Run characters, that means Cookie Run is paying them to do so. Show our characters in your game to your thousands of players. It's advertising. They're not going to want come to us to release their own versions that may or may not look better than cookies at the
Hmm.
same time as they're running a collab. So
They don't look
usually,
better. Disclaimer: they do not look
yeah,
better.
they don't. But I personally think the Street Fighter, well, I have no connection to Street Fighter, so there's no nostalgia in that for me. So I personally like the
A
Summoners
little
War
bit.
one's way better. But
I, I was big on Bison because I used to, when I played Street Fighter years and many years ago. I liked Bison a lot. I could care less for the rest of them.
yeah,
Um, but when it comes to Cookie Run, I just like all the cookie. I've never. I don't remember. The only one I remember is the main one, right?
the Ginger
Cookie
Brave,
Brave. Yeah,
yeah.
Ginger Brave. That's the one. Right, and that's fine. But the other ones I don't remember, but I still would much rather prefer them over what I saw were the leaks
Yeah.
uh, by a
And
long
we
shot.
there's no like even confirmation of that. Someone could have sketched that shit up. I have no idea.
That's true.
So
That
I don't
is.
want to like say that that's guaranteed what's happening, but
Mhm.
it makes sense. I know China has really strict laws about like cross advertising like that. Um, and I know like apps and some other people had said like it was probably a licensing issue with Street Fighter, but I don't think so. And if we don't get China versions, or if China doesn't get the collab with this one, it's definitely not a licensing thing because I looked it up and Cookie Run is available in China, so there's no
Mhm.
there's no licensing issue. You can literally live in China and download that game right now.
Yeah.
Um, but it's
Uh,
usually just the cross advertising thing that they're really strict on, which I mean it's probably for the better. That's I feel like
I really
every
wanted to
country
use
should
them
have
right
those
away,
rules,
though.
but
I
yeah,
want to use them right
that's
away.
the struggle. So it's like for me, because all I give a shit about is RTA. That's like the one thing that will stop me from spending when
Uh,
something big like this comes out. Like,
yeah,
because it's just gonna make me angry if I did pull. Let's say I get my
the
second
LD.
nat 5 ever. Oh my god, second nat 5 ever, and it's a fucking cookie, and I can't use it until February of 2023 or whatever. I will
Probably
be
January, but
so
yeah.
mad.
I would be. I'm cheesed ahead of time. I'll say.
Yeah.
I'm ahead of time cheesed.
So I really hope that those leaks were fake
Mm.
and that it is available in China and we
Yeah,
can just play right away, but I doubt it. So, because if that
maybe
was at
that's
all
not.
possible with Street Fighter, they would have done it. I mean, you don't think they wanted to sell Street Fighter scrolls in the largest population country in the world? Of course they would have wanted to. It was
Big money.
obviously just not in the cards, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I hope. I don't know. I do. I'm gonna hold hope. I don't care what anyone tells me. I'm holding hope that we can use them right away. I don't care though, even though if it's most likely we're not gonna be allowed to use them right away. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, I will potentially whale if I get something from my save scrolls,
mhm,
which is not a lot right now. Like I might get the T away pack just to double the
yeah.
basic. And
Oh,
that's it.
the
I don't
other
have much.
thing too is we have a bunch I or they've it's been on Reddit, but also like you Stoic and whatever. Stoic sent me a bunch of photos from the collab and
Yeah.
stuff like that from Vegas. So I will put the links to all those photos if you guys if you haven't seen what the new units look like or anything like that yet. I'll
Mhm.
put that in the description. But from right now, it looks the only thing we know for sure is that we're getting a defense type family.
Yeah.
So, what do you think that unit's viability is going to look like
Well,
RTA
it,
wise?
that scaling they did, I wish I could pop it open. I can actually. Give me a sec. 'Cause that passive is pretty juiced to me.
Or
Let's
is it a
click that.
passive or is it the skill
Oh,
3?
sorry, it's a skill. Sorry, the skill 3.
Puts
So the
like
one
a
where,
shield, I think.
yeah, well, it depends on the cooldown of it as well. But decrease the damage that your allies take by 200% of your defense until the next turn starts.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But
So
what's her base speed gonna be though?
what's her bait?
Because you got to get like out in front of your opponent's team, right? So
Yeah. I think. What's wrong? We got
we do have a guest this week.
we do have a guest this week. It's my daughter. What do you think of this skill?
Perfect. That's honestly my opinion on it too, because I don't know how
Yeah.
it's gonna work.
I think it's gonna work like a shield, quote unquote, like literally a shield. So it's like 200%. So let's say I have 2,000 defense, 200% of it, it'll be 6,000, right?
Yeah,
So until Hollyberry's next turn starts, all damage is reduced by 6,000. I think
which basically means you're not taking damage, right?
it potentially. I think that's a 2,000 is absurd number. Well, it's not actually absurd if you say total 2,000, right? So that might be pretty good skill if I'm interpreting it
It's
right.
like a Pontos, right, or a Lima who just puts up invincibility instead, right?
A poor man's invincibility, I guess,
Yeah.
if you word it that way.
But well,
But she can't
actually,
be
it's good,
stunned.
right? Because you can't strip it. I don't think. It's just
That's
like it's. She probably maybe it goes away if she gets stunned like a string master or something.
yeah. This is why I was saying passive. This is because I remember I had this thought when I was first reading it. If it like turns into a passive, for example, so like
Like a string.
kind of like Nagong. You know how Nagong uses his
Oh
S3
yeah,
and then he has an AoE 15% reduction except on himself. If it turns into something like that, then this is arguably better than invincibility in some situations.
yeah. Just because you
If
can't be
not
stripped
most
and stuff.
situations, because it can't be stripped. So I think that's a pretty good skill in that sense. But I don't know in RTA world because her second skill escorts the ally. So this is Hug. The developers themselves, while I was there at the Vegas meetup talking about this,
Yeah,
they said this is like they brought back Hug, which was
Chandra. Yeah,
yeah, which escorts the ally with the lowest HP for 3 turns. Escorts is a hilarious word when we were in Vegas to use that. And then charges fiercely towards the enemy with a Hollyberry shield, deals damage that increases according to your defense, and it can stun them with 100% activation, which is good. Um, I hate seeing like the 70% crap, so at least it's 100% activation. The turn 1 provoke, I think this is going to skill up like the Cardinals, where it goes up to 80%, which is not a bad
yeah.
skill. Which is
Pretty
not a
good.
bad
Yeah,
skill for an S1. S1 provoke is pretty good. Like, I'm not going to say it's OP, but it's really good. And it's defense scaling right off the bat. So it does seem like the whole family is going to be defense scaling.
yeah. If the S1 is, unless they're like dragons where they all have a different S1, but I doubt it.
It's not impossible to be seen. But I could see an HP type with a defense scaling S1. That's not a big deal. That's not
Yeah,
impossible.
that's
But I think,
bulldozer anyways. Right now, I think.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's and a support type as well could be defense scaling. It's not going to matter. So I could see those three. It's not going to, I don't think it's proper. No, not proper, but whatever. It's more accurate to say that this probably still going to be a mixed bag of family. Probably no attack types. But I think in general, this S3 seems pretty good. At least her other 2 skills are not totally useless, right?
Yeah, the S2 though, it's like the more I think about it though, it's like it's Chandra's skill, but you don't get to choose the target. Like, isn't that just strictly worse? Like,
Wait a
because
second.
it default goes to your lowest HP
Oh,
unit,
HP,
so
yeah.
you don't even get to choose. It's like, why would you make a worse version of Chandra of all things?
I need
Like,
to look at
at
this
least
one.
he gets to choose, like, who he wants to protect for a while. And he's terrible, so I don't know. It's kind of weird that they would make a lesser version. And she doesn't get an
But,
additional turn either, right? Doesn't Chandra get an automatic additional turn?
yeah, Chandra does get the additional turn. Where is he? Haven't seen this unit in years. There he is.
Why are we
Yeah,
Wait,
this is
his says escorts? I
yeah.
never. I
I
don't
never
actually.
knew.
I don't have a Chandra actually, so
I fed 3 of them. I
I
never said to.
I've never pulled him.
That's
Somehow,
what,
after all these years, I've never pulled him or Kumar. I've just completely dodged the Beast
oh,
Monk family.
I wouldn't say it's worse though. Think about it. It says receives half the damage. She doesn't say that she receives half the damage, right?
What is she? Does she receive all of it or none of it?
Or oh no, let's see. I have to pop it open again for this comparison. Yeah, it doesn't say anything. So if you do
Oh, so
poke,
she just attacks back instead.
so it's just a hug. It doesn't. Yeah, I
What's the
guess
point of
she
that?
just
That's just worse.
no. She doesn't receive any damage from it.
Yeah, that's bad. You want her to be taking the damage away from the. You want to put it on a squishy unit and take the damage away from it. So that thing's just going to take its damage now, and she'll attack back, but Chandra does that too. He's just better. He stuns too. Isn't his S1 a
Yeah.
stun?
Oh, yeah. Because the escorted target through defend, the skill defend, they don't take any damage. So I guess
Yeah, they take 0, and then he
yeah.
takes all of it and then reduces
But
it by
I
50.
I think this text is or this is missing some text.
It might be. Yeah.
I think it is because there's got to be some. It doesn't say if that escorted ally gets hit, such as
Oh yeah,
Chandra.
so she probably takes the damage but then doesn't reduce it at all. But they probably did that because of what her S3 is. Otherwise she'd probably just be invincible, right?
It's not a bad
But
thing
if
to
it
do.
doesn't give her an additional turn, you've got a proc to get your defend up and put your thingy up.
Yeah.
That's weird. Isn't it kind of like anti-synergistic too? Because her S3 reduces the damage her allies take,
Yeah.
but then
But
her
that's only.
S2 drags damage to her where she isn't reducing damage, right?
But her. But that's only until the next turn starts.
Yeah.
So if they use S3 first, it's on cooldown. You don't have that damage reduction anymore. So then Oath on the Shield, the S2, gives you another layer of protection, just not as good as S3, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think that's the idea of it, that she just has a lot of protection. She stuns with S2, she provokes with S1. So in the world of supports, she's not that bad. I find like in the total kit. Now I'm pretty
Is
sure the
she
S2 though is missing text though, because there has to be something that if somebody hits the escorted ally, something's got to happen. We don't know
well,
if it's
she
damage
attacks
reduction.
back and
Does it?
goes
It
to
doesn't
stun
say
him,
that.
right? Doesn't it? That's where her stun is, right? Because her skill 1's a provoke and her attack back is a stun,
It,
right?
on the attacked target and stuff. Yeah, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, you were right. I'm just
So she
illiterate. My bad.
counterattacks.
She does counterattack. So
So
does
so
so I
does
get
Chandra. It's the same thing.
Chandra, but no damage reduction.
Yeah, but then she's got the damage reduction skill. But okay, I think a better comparison though, like just the type of unit that she's gonna be though, is like the Water String Master, where it's like
Ah,
it's got that effect where you go first, you want to be in front of your opponent so you can turn your thing on and then hinder them for an entire round. But the String Masters, I'm assuming, are going to have much higher base speed. They never give a defense unit high base speed because they're a bunch of bastards. And
yeah,
then the String Masters also slow themselves, so they stay in the stance way longer. And those units are already bad. So I don't know if an added effect of take less damage is better
add
or
an
worse
RTA.
than block
Add an
buffs.
RTA.
Yeah,
In
you can
Siege,
always do stuff like that in Siege. Yeah, that
yeah,
could be cool. You could run her like on Swift and then run some like stupidly slow units that are just super juicy and do a ton of damage, and then she'll protect them until they get to do their pop off, which is pretty
yeah.
cool. But
It can be cool. This S3 does seem interesting. If it's on a 3-turn cooldown, this is a scary S3.
yeah,
I would think. I would think that's a very scary S3 because like it's not the only like if it's spammable. Obviously, a 3-turn cooldown, it's fairly spammable, and then so your whole team, the rest of your team, is not eating damage because of that. And then when she is on her own turn, if she's not using that S3, her other two skills are not horrible.
Does she take damage still? Or does her S3 protect her as well?
Says your allies. So I do think this includes herself, because typically the allies.
Yeah, well, it would just
wording,
specify excluding yourself.
yes,
It would just
exactly.
say that. I think that's what Darien does, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it literally just says excluding yourself.
Yeah. So in the
No, it
world of,
says the other allies.
yeah,
Is how they specify it if he's not
yeah,
included.
yeah. But yeah, I don't see that wording in
Yeah.
here. Again, this
Okay.
is not potentially final product, right?
Yeah,
But
but
let's
it
say
makes sense to be that way. Because if
yeah,
she could
let's
just get like rained down on and killed, then what good is that? You know?
yeah. So I think that's. I don't know. I think this is a good. This was a good unit for them to tease to like show what kind of kit's coming out in the world of the world of supports. I hope she has high base speed.
She's
I
gonna be
hope.
so good with like Dominic Masha.
Imagine a 104 on her.
Yeah, it's not gonna be, but yeah.
Let's dream though.
I'm gonna predict. I'm really good at just looking at the units and predicting the base speeds. I'd even consider myself an expert. She's gonna be 99. I'm almost positive.
You wanna that's what you're putting your money on is 99. I don't
Yeah,
think you're wrong.
dude, I
I'm
nailed
hoping
the
for a
Sky
104.
Surfers. I nailed the Battle Angels. I'm on a streak right now. I'm hot.
Oh no.
So
Oh no.
I think
Wait, what
she's
you
99.
okay. We'll see. I hope 104. 104 makes sense, but if it's 99, she's
I,
kind of she'll still be a decent RTA unit, but in Siege she'll be a fucking force. I didn't swear. I did not say the F word. I said fudge.
I said force.
I said force. I said force.
She's a force in force, dude.
You know what's
But
funny? In the thumbnail, we're gonna put my daughter's face.
she's the guest.
Yes,
Yeah,
my daughter. She has great opinions. Okay, hold
yeah.
on. Actually, let me show her the pictures of the cookies. That way, her opinion is voiced. Oh
Because
wait,
and
it's not.
also those sword and just to give you guys some more info with my
Mm-hmm.
oracle abilities, the sword and shield guy is probably going to be like 103 base speed, so that's pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no! Wait. Where is it? Let's have to scroll up quite a bit. You could have just
I wish
used
I
my.
had a way to bring it up on the screen, like the pictures of the units, because I honestly think they showed us the least interesting family in the whole thing. Like it is probably just going to be a bundle of supports, but
They did
like that
show all
knight
of them.
looks sick.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. You meant like the sampler.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
think this
just
is
what they
nice?
look like. Yeah.
No. Uh-oh.
Uh-uh.
What about
Okay,
these?
you guys heard it here first.
Oh no. What about
We're
this?
doomed.
You don't like it? Oh no. No, okay. I guess my daughter doesn't like the collab.
Oh
I'm sorry.
no.
Oh
Well, she's on the
no.
same page as us, I guess.
No, I
I'm,
like it. What do you mean?
I like it. I mean, I don't know. I don't dislike it. I could think of a million IPs that if I had the choice, like I would have choose I would have chose from first. But I don't play any other gotcha games, and it makes sense
Yeah.
to collab with a gotcha game. Obviously, you're gonna
Yeah.
show your game to people, to like-minded potential customers, and they're gonna show their game
Yeah.
to like-minded potential customers. Like it makes sense, but I don't play any other gotcha games, so it means
Yeah.
nothing to me really. So I don't know.
From my experience, well, another thing the developers were saying while we were in Vegas, they were saying that they want to pick a game that has, similar mechanics. So apparently Cookie Run does have like the same kind of mechanics in terms of the turn-based nonsense. So
Yeah,
that's something that they were looking at. And if you really think about it, they're not going to collab with like E7. They're not going to collab with. Could they do it? Yes. Uh,
yeah,
could they collab with Raid Shadow Legends? That would probably end the game, to be honest.
yeah.
Let's be.
They don't. Those are
That's
like
not happening.
direct competitors, whereas like
Yeah.
Cookie Run is more same market, different consumers. Like
Yes.
nobody
But
thinks Cookie Run Kingdom is fighting like that. It's like Epic 7 and Summer's War right now is like Pepsi and Coke. Like those two are not going
yeah.
to collab,
Yes.
but Pepsi
Yes.
will collab with, I don't know, Sam's Cola or whatever, just some random
Yeah.
shit. Like, Still
Glazed
soda,
chips. I don't know.
but not a threat.
Another thing came out. Have you heard of the game Puzzles and Dragons?
Only through Apsa. He talks about that game a lot, but I have no
Yeah,
idea what the hell it is.
it's a puzzle game. But the thing is, they have like animations on the top half. So bottom screen is like the puzzle portion, then the top half is like a boss you're fighting.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a weird, it's an interesting game. A lot of people play it, and they collab with literally everybody under the sun. They did one with Hello Kitty. Imagine Hello Kitty in a game called Puzzles and Dragons, and they have the kitty, the main kitty thing. Though the face of Hello Kitty is the boss you're fighting. It's absurd. And
Yeah.
I love it though. I love the absurdity, and I love the absurdity of cookies
It
in
is,
a
it is
gacha
getting,
game.
yeah. I mean, at this point, it's like once we got like robots and shit added into a game that is like dragons, knights, whatever,
Mythical.
yeah, like medieval times type stuff. Once they added robots and like cyborg snipers and
Yeah.
space cowgirls and whatever, it's like, okay, all bets are off.
Yeah. Cookies are in.
Yeah, now it's time
We
to
got
get some
cake.
cookies.
We got cookies. We got Cooking Mama. Do you remember Cooking Mama?
Of course.
That was oh my god. That's the next collab.
Yeah,
You
it
can have
better
a
be.
burger, dark burger, light burger. Just can't wait for that. You
Yeah.
want burger? No, she just doesn't want anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're gonna
I
look
could care less.
they're gonna look really out of place though. Like, especially
I
the
like it.
gingerbread man. Like the ones that are
I like
covered in armor, like you can kind of like get past it, but like the gingerbread man with a friggin' candy cane in his hand, like he's gonna look weird fighting a Zarath. Like he just he
I
just
like it.
is.
I like it. I love the absurdity. Like the more like I can't think of anything more absurd than cookies, to be honest though. That's like the most absurd thing. And I don't say that in a negative way. I love it. Like if they do Hello Kitty, just
Oh
imagine.
no, I that would be enough to push me away.
No, I would
That would just get too
go
weird for
all
me.
in.
I love like the style of the units in Summoners War. It's like one of the number one reasons like I started playing this game back in the day. It's like this game compared to other mobile games at the time, it was like you see a Dragon Knight or something, it's like this is so cool. But
Yeah.
you start going into weird shit like Hello Kitty
Well,
or
that's what a
whatever.
lot is. Like if they what's a similar okay, the Raid Shadow Legends is the only like similar artsy style, I guess that would be Summers that comes to mind.
Well, I think they did a good job with the Street Fighter ones, just making them
Yeah.
kind of fit. Like, I mean, my Giants team that's running right now has Chun Li in it. You can't even really tell; she just kind of fits. It's like
Yeah. Well, she looks so much like the she looks so much like what do you call it?
the dancers, yeah, or
Yeah.
the Kung Fu girls.
Yes, that's why they're very similar in that sense. But the other ones like
Bison
they
looks
do
weird.
stand out. Yes, Bison specifically, they stands out a little bit, but I don't find it. I like it. I like it that they stand out.
I think
Or-
Dalsim fits in like perfect. Like
Yeah.
you could show me Dalsim. I mean, no one's ever used a Dalsim in this game, but you
No.
could show me a Dalsim and I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes like I could picture that just being a Summoners War unit. But
I like it. I want a more absurd collabs. I think like collabs they're supposed to look kind of out of place. They shouldn't like force the animation to like fit in. Personally,
I would just love like Pokemon or something like it
I
would,
know.
or like Warcraft. I don't know,
like
Hearthstone, Warcraft style of because they just fit. Like they just fit perfectly. Like
Yeah.
orcs and like shit like that. They would just be so sick to put in the game. But
Do we have any orcs in this game?
no, it's weird. It feels
It
it's
feels
uncomfortable. It's almost
Dude,
it's a little racist.
Shrek. We're gonna get Shrek collab.
Okay, that's an ogre.
Dude, that's so perfect.
Oh.
It's so absurd.
The game that I would have liked to see them. I haven't played this game in years, but I used to love it. I would have loved to see them collab with like Clash of Clans. Like the Clash has like the perfect like
They've been out. How long has Clash been out in comparison to
a
Summoners?
long time.
Way longer.
I don't know about way longer, but longer because I played that. I'm almost positive I played Clash Clans before I played Summoners War, and I played Summoners War opening week. So I don't know. But I don't know how much older it is, but
I think that's but what I'm getting at with that is I think that's a decent idea because,
and they
but they
just
don't have
fit,
animated.
huh?
They don't have like animated characters in the game
Yeah,
though,
they
do
do.
they? I
Yeah,
thought it was all on cards.
no, that's
Oh,
Clash
you know,
Royale.
oh, okay.
That's like their spin-off game thing that they did.
Oh,
Clash of
yeah. I
Clans
know.
like has like units like it has like a giant and it's just like a really iconic Clash of Clans character and it's like
Yeah.
it's generic. It's super easy for you to just like put the giant into Summoner's War and make it wind, water, fire, dark, light. Like it would be so easy, so effortless. And they've got a bunch of different like iconic units in that game that would just be so easy to port over to Summoner's War and they'd fit right in and but
I think because of the age of the game, it would make sense to collab with them
yeah, they've been
because
doing massive updates I've seen lately.
what Clash you mean?
Yeah, Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
So it's like they're trying to like revitalize, like get a second wind for that game. So it would have been like perfect because all these
Collab.
streamers that I used to follow that hadn't played Clash in forever, I've been seeing them on it lately.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that would
But
have been a really cool collab. Maybe next time. Maybe next year.
next year, I hope they do it yearly instead of every second year,
Yeah.
and remove the wait 4 months to use an RTA restriction. I hope we don't see it. I just
Yeah.
I think it's
Freaking
a good
China
move.
server.
Just blame China server for everything.
It's the literal only reason, and hopefully it's not the case this time, but it's looking like it is.
Yeah. So the unfortunate likelihood. Um, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about collab related.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we can just kind of like segue it into like RTA meta right now because I
Yeah.
do think there's some like really needed roles that they need to fill, and like they're about to drop what 21 new units into the game, so like
Yeah.
21 opportunities to fill some of those freaking roles. But
Mhm.
like, dude, we need a fire unit in this fucking game. That's like
Not
Okeanos. They need
normal.
to revert Okeanos. That's what they really
Yeah.
need to do. Just revert him. He wouldn't even be that
Revert
good
him
anymore.
or give him the accuracy awakening or something.
Yeah.
I think the accuracy awakening is a higher priority than the reboosting as S3. I feel like they jumped the gun quite a
They
bit on
did.
instead of just I don't know, it's 3 to 5 times. Why 3 to 5? Don't
I
even
know.
4 to 5. It, I hate that. Just average it at 4 even. Let's say it's 4 hits.
Yeah.
What's his stun chance again?
Low.
Fully skilled?
40, I think.
Low. So it's as much as Oki.
What do you mean? I'm talking
Or
about
not
Oki.
Oki, sorry, your Grogan. Sorry, is what I meant to say.
Well, 20.
Yeah. Goes to 40%. No, 45%. But the issue is it's 3 to 5, which is nonsense.
Yeah, my Grogan's 40. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
45, but it's only 3 times. 3 to 5, sorry. So like you don't even know. Like
yeah,
it's absurd.
which drastically changes your damage output. You
Really?
think you're gonna kill something, but you don't. You freaking it's
Can we call this a Nat Force skill?
pretty much it's worse than
Yeah, I would.
Clara's.
Yeah, 100. Yes, yeah,
Strictly
100%.
worse than Clara's, and she has a better base speed than him too, which is cute.
Yeah, and she doesn't have a ridiculous awakening that actually hinders her rather than
Yeah,
help her.
but
Her leader skill awakening is more beneficial than Oki's 15 crit.
yeah, I just think they jump the gun on some of the nerfs though, because like, and they do it in such a weird sequence because they'll nerf Okeanos and then proceed to release Riley, buff Douglas. Like,
Yeah,
all of a sudden, these units are out, and it's like, wait, these would just counter the fuck out of Okeanos. Why did he have to get nerfed if these were coming right up the next fucking patch? It's
yeah.
like, what is this sequencing? I don't understand. Like, Riley's so good versus Okeanos. It's
It's not
pretty
even
much what
funny.
made him unplayable because he
That
doesn't
was
push
the
her back. He can't rely on stunning her. Even if he does stun her, she's just one proc out. He can't use his second skill to reset her. It's like she's the ultimate Oki counter, but they nerfed him first and then came out with her. It's like, what the fuck?
no. They need to revisit for sure. Oki, I think, is on that list to be revisited as a fire unit. Because when I look at all the other ones,
They're bad.
sucks to say, but yeah.
Dude, as soon as you pick Masha and they start tailing off into their like 2 water unit draft, and then
Yeah.
like they can just
Four
fill out the
water.
they can just fill out the rest of their draft with like wind units. After they've picked 2 water units, it's the fire unit options are so bad, you can't even answer the wind units that are about to follow because you're gonna be picking them into 2 water, and it's just gonna be brutal. Even if you banned a water unit, they're still gonna be bad. So it's like,
It really sucks because well, you and I are both trying to figure out something. Like, if you lose Masha, what do you do? Worst, even worse than that, if I don't own a Masha, what do I do?
yeah,
Like, I wish I could provide some answers today. It's still in the like I've been trying to like early pick Tessa if I lose Masha. Like, normally my main draft is incorporating Masha as a second, third pick. If I
yeah.
don't lose it, I feel I'm forced to first pick a Ryu currently, because I don't have a lot of the other units. I'll say it again. I don't have Oliver, Juno, Abelio, uh, Dominic. I don't have these. They're really good units in this meta right now. I think Dominic is probably, for some reason, is a little bit under than usual, but I still value him quite a bit. So I'm forced to first pick Ryu instead of Masha because I have a hard time fighting Ryu without having the other units.
I
So
just
I'm
first
forced
pick them anyway.
Ryu. Yeah. Well, you have everything, and you still like first picking Ryu. Personally, if I had the other stuff, I would try it first picking Masha and then go to the rest. But what I'm getting at is when I get to a first pick Ryu, they take Masha, and I'm typically fine with that. But when they go with Masha and heavy water, I'm like, I can't take a good wind unit because there is no
You
good
just
wind
get
unit against
crushed.
Masha. And then I say, okay, well, can I take a good water unit? Eh, you have a couple options, which is not the worst. But the issue is when they go Masha with wind, you can't take a good fire unit because Masha is essentially the only good fire
Yeah,
unit.
there's no
And you
more.
can't take a good wind unit because Masha just obliterates your one and only, or even 2 wind units. Masha obliterates it. And obviously you can't go heavy water because heavy wind beats heavy water all the time. Uh, unless you have like the certain key ones like Molong, Miles, and sometimes Wusa's really good into it. So when it comes into this insane, this
That's why this is
now
LD meta.
this is what just reminds me of way back before Carnal was a thing, when Oki and heavy wind units was a thing. Do you remember that before Oki's nerf? This was the reason Oki was
Yeah,
nerfed.
he's my favorite RTA unit of all time because I was
Yeah,
just crushing everybody's skulls with him in those couple of
yeah.
seasons.
We're actually back in that. I just realized that. I can't believe it. When people draft Oki and they go wind units, and you had no good response because there was no good fire units at all.
Yeah,
And then they released Cardinal, and then on top of it, they nerfed Oki.
and then
That
it just became Cardinals meta for a couple seasons.
Not exactly though, because Cardinal still had some struggles with other fire units because they nerfed Oki. So the other fire units still had a chance to clap him, like Juno, but if you had a good Cardinal, you could topple the Junos. So it
Yeah.
wasn't as detrimental, I feel, as like old Oki with heavy wind and Masha with heavy wind. I feel like Cardinal wasn't as
Well, Cardinals' problem
bad.
was that he didn't have a strip on his other skill to basically. Cardinal had to be set up by a stripper who landed everything. Whereas Oki right now, it's like, fuck, my Ryu missed the most important target. I'll just Oki S2 it this turn and then deal with then I'll S3 the following turn. Cardinal couldn't
Yeah,
do that. If you missed, you missed. Like,
that's true.
you're, if your Ryu fucked up and missed the Riley or Riley wasn't out, but missed the, I don't know, I don't even remember what people were using. Something
I'm sure
important.
there was a lot of Chungus. There was a
Yeah.
lot of Chungus.
Then you just had to eat it. Cardinal couldn't do anything. He couldn't even touch the unit. So that was his big issue, but he still kind of ran the game for a season or two just as
Yeah,
the only fire unit.
that was viable. Yes.
Seems like every time we get a good fire unit, that unit just becomes first pick this one because there's never two and you get fucked over. But if you own LDs, you're good. You're good. You
Yay!
don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about calculating your elements. Like you don't, dude. It's so fucking hard right now to not have LDs in your draft, whether they're 4 or 5 stars. Like even just having a tableau is so
Yeah,
good because you don't have to double up on any other element if you don't want to. Right
yeah.
now, if you do not have LDs, you don't have a choice. There's 3 elements to pick from, and you got to pick 5 units. You're doubling up on 2 of them, no matter what you do. So when people are like, "Oh, you drafted right into that Verd," no, I didn't. I had to. I'm picking
I
from
had
three
no
elements.
option.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you picked
I
right
hate
into
that.
that, Douglas. You picked 2 wind units.
But
I
people are
had
taking
to.
Bird for no reason, man. People are taking Bird for no good reason, just because they're out of responses. Maybe we should just take Bird every time we lose Masha.
Well, he just enhances overpowered drafts. I mean, what's better than a Masha that moves twice as much? Like, I mean, like
Oh,
it's just so
Masha
good.
that moves 3 times as much. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
it's just so good. Like, I don't know.
Good. Like I think Tomo, like Tomo with the double strip, like it has its moments, but then like Tomo gets countered, like you because people another common thing is like someone takes Masha, then Abelio Juno, Tomo, which is like arguably probably the
Second best fire
next,
unit, maybe.
yeah,
In that
like
vein. I mean, Juno's better than her, but Juno's a
yeah.
different.
I
Juno's element
forget to
doesn't even really
calculate Juno.
matter.
No, and I always forget to calculate Juno because I don't own it. But like when I look at like Tomo Nora in my box, when I say like if I lose Masha, who are my next best fire units if I have to fight heavy wind? And it would be Tomo Nora. I don't really consider anything else. Sekhmet, obviously, you've seen me take Sekhmet a little too often.
But I don't even
And
consider Sekhmet a fire unit. I don't consider Nora
yeah,
a fire unit either. She doesn't function like one. It's not like I don't know.
in terms of getting glanced on is what I mean. So like if they go
Yeah,
heavy wind with their Masha, that's what I mean that they need that unit that helps you deal with Masha because you need to take a fire unit or a water unit, but water will be less used if you're fighting the heavy wind comps, right? It's just you can't really pull out except Miles and Molong are the exceptions in that. And it sounds like okay, well you're just stating what you have to draft. I have to draft a my first pick Ryu, then I'll take a Molong Miles into a Masha Changpeng Oliver heavy win comp. Sounds good on paper, and then I'll take 2 fire follow-ups. But then they pivot into Juno Abelio, and then I'm just lost because Abelio just heals up any follow-up I had on one-shotting, and then it's a whole very common situation where they're able to fully restore themselves, and I can't successfully take out a unit. I'm not saying that just, and then that's it's not just me, that's multiple people that go through that. So that's why we're trying to like fill this gap of how do I deal with Masha and still have a coherent draft.
yeah. But I mean, to be fair, we've found some good stuff because like we've been climbing a good amount the past couple
Yeah.
days. I haven't been doing as many wings as I want just to avoid tilting, but I've climbed about 200 points in the past week or so
Mm,
with a pretty ridiculous win rate, and it's mostly just been like immunity units. It's like the only thing that I've found actually works versus um, Masha. Like when you can stop her defense break, and I mean Wusa's the best one. Obviously, he can chunk
yeah,
her with damage. He can put up shields, so not only is he protecting you from her defense break, but he's also just stopping her damage altogether with the shields. And then like I've been using like double resets like Cigar and Sekhmet, and
yeah,
that way I don't have to. I'm not in a situation where like I'm looking at their drafts and I'm like, oh, I can't pick Wusa because they have a Juno, whatever. I just reset the Juno. I just throw my
yeah,
reset onto the Juno, and then my Wusa can do whatever the hell it wants. It can put up immunity for good, and
yeah. And it's something I should be abusing more as well, because especially with your box is more full than mine is in terms for this meta. But I gotta like think about stuff like that too, taking more immunity. Not probably, I mean, that's just me. Anyone watching who's curious, like, how the heck do I deal with this right now? It is immunity. Immunity does help a lot. The good ones are Wusa naturally is the best one right now. I've
yeah.
tried Adder a couple times. My crappy non-relevant LD. I like how I have
I
3 LDs
think,
in my box.
dude, I'm so high on immunity units right now. I really think Pater could be a really good payoff unit to have
Oh,
ready.
we'll see. Well, I was surprised I would go up to 160s. I would prefer that he's faster than the rest of my team, but I can't do that without screwing over my core. So
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I've noticed too, though, it's like, I don't know, like, I feel like you almost don't even have to force units onto violent anymore, like in this meta, because it kind of just feels like you're bouncing, like, you're really just picking units that just inherently beat the opponent's units. Like, so I tested this for like back-to-back sessions of 30 wings with Water Monkey King.
yeah,
And so the first session of 30 wings, he was literally just on my Praha's runes. I didn't have Praha runed up yet. So
yeah,
he was on Violent Will. He had an attack slot 6 instead of HP, but either way, same speed, 182, Violent Will, 100 crit rate, whatever. And he does really good. I mean, he's either a force ban versus Masha and Wusa and Molong and things like that, or he just beats the shit out of him or whatever. But I literally the next day I switch him to Swift on the exact same stats, and he had the exact same win rate and the same number of picked games, and he literally just felt exactly the same. And
so it's just,
honestly,
I was
yeah,
gonna say, so it's just because he fits that counter pick role so well, and if he gets through the draft, it's irrelevant.
he just beats those units anyways. Like he just does. He's going to beat Masha, he's going to beat Douglas, he's going to beat Antares, he's gonna beat Juno, he's gonna beat Tomo. He just beats those units regardless of what he's on. And it's like, why the hell am I wasting one of
A
my
violent
best violence sets? And that's how like I just kind of stumbled upon Praha. I was just like, I have a crit rate set, move it to something that needs a crit rate set. And then it was just like such a huge opening of like runes, and now I can still use Water Monkey as much as I was before.
Mm,
And I actually really like him. Maybe not necessarily on Swift, but just not on Violence specifically, because
yeah,
what you can do is you can S3, next turn you take S1, next
yeah,
turn you take S2, now you
yes,
get bar towards your next S3.
yes.
Whereas when he was on Violent, I actually lost a couple games because on that first turn after S3ing, I procced and I lost my immunity
Ah,
and I lost my uh, will runes, and then I had a whole opening of I'm at 0 attack bar with no immunity
yeah.
and no invincibility where they can just light me up. And I legitimately lost several games over the past like couple weeks I was running him on Violent by procking out of his immunity and his invincibility.
That's
So
a good example, though. Monkey is actually a really good example of that, of a really good counter pick unit that you might be thinking you should just have him on bio, but you just pretty gave pretty good layout. It's like he can screw himself over if he's on bio.
yeah,
And sometimes you don't want him to take the 27, right?
that
Sometimes you want
too.
your
Yeah, it's almost
yeah, like
he gets a lot of useless procs too, where like shit's already
yeah.
stunned. You don't really want to lose your immunity. It's like he gets some bad procs.
I wonder if I can apply that to Patter.
Well,
That
that's what I
idea.
was saying because like I want to be trying out Vela soon, and I just put him on just like a
Swift
Swift
man.
Nem, just fat stats or whatever.
I
I
always forget they up that base speed.
Yeah, it's really helpful, and
Yeah.
it just feels like I don't know. Some people still use Swift Wusas like on like 180 sets, like not even like anything crazy like
Yeah.
Swift Tessa. Like a lot of people try to force their stuff onto Violent, and it's like if I wanted to tune a Tessa, probably everything in my box right now that like my good units that are on Violent, they probably all got to lose 5 or 6 speed,
Yeah,
and
see
it's
that's kind of the spot I'm in with like Patter. I did that's a lie though. I have tried Swift Patter before for like certain Gianna comps and whatnot. And I would just have him just faster on Swift. So like if they took a Gianna comp with no bar manipulation, I know that my Patter moves next in some situations. But I remember I always ran into the odd one where my Patter was just too slow or just too fast, and then I lost because he wasn't at the right speed with my opponent's Gianna, as an example.
yeah.
I feel like that would happen again.
I don't go
Yeah.
too crazy on the speed. I just keep them. I honestly keep them right at where they probably would be if I really wanted to build them on Vio. Like,
By putting them though, I could avoid some of those problems too. But
I mean,
I'd have to make it.
Pater's pretty good on Will though.
Yeah. But another thing with Pater is that he's really tanky with
Yep.
the HP. So like proccing them on him is it's
Yeah,
not easy.
it's hard.
Not easy. That's something to consider for everybody though. If you have like you're realizing just for the sake of speed tuning, if you have to force it on Swift, like Watermonkey is like probably right now is to me is the best example of this. Just put him on Swift. It's like he'll still solo
Yeah.
all the especially Masha. If you just use his skills at the right time, though he doesn't gain bar on his S2 off a Masha. Masha's probably not the best example, but everyone else. So he can last the
He still
turn.
just beats Masha though. Like just in
That's true. You
general, he
can
still just
dismount.
beats her. It's like
You can dismount it, and then you don't have to really worry about the immunity anymore.
yeah, he kills her so
That,
fast. It's
yeah.
like insane.
I wonder what other units that applies to. So Monkey for sure. I'm gonna try it out with Patter. You're trying it with Vela and Tessa. Maybe I should apply that to my Tessa. Really.
Yeah, and it's like
Uh,
I've noticed zero difference in the performance of Tessa. Right? Because
yeah.
the other thing people, I mean, it sounds obvious when you say it out loud, but no one really thinks of it when they're building their unit. It's like violent. If you don't proc, you didn't have a rune set on. Like so, if you're sacrificing
Yeah.
stats and you go into a match and it's over really quick, and you got screwed over or whatever because you didn't proc, you just had less stats. That's it. That's all your violent set did for you was make your unit less statted. That's it.
That's true.
Your violent set only matters if and when you proc. So if there's any units that you think you can get equal value out of, like obviously I don't think you should rune a Swift Molly or something like that. I don't think that's worth it. I don't think over the course of the match she's not going to put out as much as the average violent, because like this is a unit that is trying to drag a game on late, going to have
Yeah.
a lot of chances to proc. Tesla's just trying to. I'm just trying to kill Verd. That's all I'm trying to do. Like, if he can just do that for me, or at the very least get it oblivioned for when my AOE's go, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need
Yeah.
to be violent to do that.
I'm gonna apply I think Swift Tessa to my because he's just under in my situation. He's just under where he needs to be. I want him like probably 10 to 20 speed faster, and Swift on average is 25 speed
Yep,
extra
just
to your
automatic.
unit. Right. On average. The least I think in current meta units that you would think about using is 24 speed, which is no joke. Like what's a 24 speed? That's a triple rune.
Yeah, a
It's
max
a triple
purple just
speed.
gets added to your
Yeah.
unit. And
It's your
if
seventh
you
rune.
didn't, and in every game where you wouldn't have procced anyways, which happens all the fucking time,
Yeah.
you just had 24 more speed and probably better other stats too.
Yeah. Because how many random ass Swift runes do you own that are just efficient?
Yeah, they're just
Hopefully you
fat.
didn't sell them because they didn't roll 21 or 22 speed.
I feel bad
But-
for anybody who does. I keep
Yeah.
everything Swift, high damage, high efficiency, high accuracy. I keep it all, so I can just build whatever the heck I need to build.
That's very educational in this sense.
But I
I
think a
would-
good example of it too, though, was like Villy in SWC with his Despair Oliver.
Yeah.
Like,
to be fair, he had that as a meme.
I mean, it might have been a meme, but it also could have just been like, okay, I know I'm going to need Oliver. I don't want to drop the speed of all my other fucking units by taking a violent rune off this, a violent rune off that, a violent rune off this. Just go Despair. Like, if I played a match and he wasn't going to proc anyway, then I just now have a chance to stun instead. Like,
25. That's why Despair is arguably better than Vaio.
yeah,
And Vaio, I honestly, and I've always thought of this is that Vaio is meant to counter Despair. If you think about like to proc out of that 25% chance to stun, if you kind of look at it that way, Despair ends up being the stronger set. It's not that because if you just always stun locked, if your opponent takes 4 AoE strip stuns, the chance of you always being stun locked is pretty damn high, especially if they have the innate stun in that skill. If it wasn't a strip stun with I think only Gianna and Clara do that, right? Strip
Yeah.
stun. Yeah. So if you think about like I'm gonna have a stripper on Despair, and then I have Despair, not Despair, but stun skills on top. Like my Figaro is also one of them. When I ran my Figaro on Despair, his stun rate is insane.
yeah,
So think of it on top of that, you have 3 other units also Despair locking you with AoEs. You're just always Despair locked. How are you going to get out of it? Well, you got a Vile proc.
Yeah.
That's where it is, this was an old thought of mine where it's like this Vio is to counter Despair, but you can topple over Despair if you run Swift sets because you're just faster than them, and you get to control them right off the bat, and they don't apply. They're stunned. That's why bar pushback is the strongest mechanic,
Yeah.
arguably, in the
And
game as well.
Despair's kind of like slowly gotten better than Violent too, ever
Yeah,
since they made it so that Violent runes like tick down. So like you have a 22% chance to proc out of the first stun, but as soon as you do that, your next unit has a 17% chance to, and then as soon as you get that eventually, if you get that, your next one's only got a 12% chance, whereas the Despair, it's
yeah.
just 25, 25, 25, 25, 25,
Mhm.
which I'm curious if they're going to ever change. I hope they do.
To make it lower, you mean? Oh, for
Like
Despair
to go
Star, yeah.
down, to tick down.
I wonder how they would calculate that. Imagine like per stun it goes down, so like your turn one you get 4 stuns off the spare
Yeah,
specifically. So then like all of it drops down to like
yeah.
let's say it's a 10%.
But that's how it
Then you
should go, because if you get 4 stuns on your first fucking turn, you don't deserve any more for a little bit.
yeah.
Like,
That's very detrimental
yeah,
to land 4 stuns, right?
like you don't deserve any more. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just like a weird meta. Like, I don't think this is true in every meta, but like in this one right now, where it just kind of feels like you just pick the good stuff. Like only certain things beat Masha, so you have to pick the units that beat Masha, and most of them do it whether they're on Violent or not. Barbara beats Masha whether she's on Swift, whether she's on. You can make a vampire
Yeah.
Barbara if you wanted to. She's going to
Yeah.
beat Masha. So don't crush your rune depth by trying to force every single unit onto Violent.
And don't force low stats like 60 crit rate Barbara just because you
Because
want it
now,
on
because now
file.
you might not beat Masha.
Yeah, you're not gonna beat a monster with that.
Right.
We already know your 85 crit rate unit, especially mine. I'm not speaking as if I run any different. Like my Barber's at 88, and I see that thing miss a little too
It's
often.
brutal.
Right. Yeah. So if you're forcing, like, and I would 100% rather run a Swift Barbara at 80, 85 minimum crit rate in comparison to a Vile Barbara at 60. Because you proc, you lost your 27, and you missed crit. Let's say you missed crit on your first turn, which is not impossible, and then you missed crit on your second one because you're only at 60 crit rate.
Yeah.
It's not absurd. It's not absurd. That's very likely to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd rather run Swift any day of the week in that sense.
Yep. And she doesn't even need like crazy Swift. Like I use her on crit rate slot 4 with,
Yeah.
I don't know, third or fourth Swift set, and just I really only pick her versus Douglas, Masha, Antares, sometimes Verd. She's usually a force band. She gets into very few matches, but
Mhm.
there's value in that too. I mean, I think it's a little. I think force bands are a little overrated. Like people think that like makes a unit like, I don't know, more valuable than I think it actually is. I think some matches you're better off picking a unit that they might not ban, but has like a
Yes.
positive matchup versus what you're about to
Yeah.
fight.
No matter what, it synergizes with your decks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know.
And
I
don't
just think it's
think.
interesting.
Yeah. I was saying, don't think for your Barbara, she needs to be plus 200. Like a plus 190 can still get the job done just
Yeah,
as easily, right? If it's Swift, I was saying if it's on a Swift build, it'll do that job very well, believe it or not. I've seen people. Aren't you running a Swift Tomo,
yeah,
or is
mine's
that
Swift.
apps?
Yeah,
Yeah,
mine's
yours is
Swift.
Swift. Yeah, for the sake of tuning,
Yeah,
put Tomo on Swift. I find Vio. There's an argument for Vio in certain, depends how you build it at what speed. If Tomo's like slower
if
than the
she's
rest of your
behind
comp,
everything, it's fine. Yeah,
yeah, then you pop S3 into S2 into S1, blah blah blah. But for me, I run Despair, and I like my Despair Tomo moving in front of some of my other units, so she can use S2 first, and for an additional strip, and then I do the S3 after that. But
yeah,
if you
mine's
don't have either of those
specifically.
sets, yeah, and yours like an example, if you don't have either of those sets to give up, Rune on Swift, Tomo will still be a force on Swift.
Yeah,
Especially if you can force a crit damage set. Did you do crit damage still? Oh, you took it off
I
crit
I
damage.
took it off. I'm using that like mostly on Monkey and Tessa now, so I don't
Yeah.
have those runes left anymore. But I just use her so that she's in front of Cigar, because she can S2. Cigar can then S2, put
Mhm.
3 more or put 2 more debuffs on the unit that you just karma'd, and then she can do a full 3 debuff spread on the
Yeah.
next turn. Or Cigar can strip another unit for her. Like she strips one, he strips another, and then everything's provoked and hopefully attack bar reduced. And then I S1 with her to stun something, and then because I'm usually faster than most people that I'm bringing Tomo into, she'll lap back around, and then I can spread the
Yeah.
stun that she put. But
And that works perfectly fine on Swift.
Yep.
Like it's still it's not like your whole team is going to be Swift. The rest of your team is going to have Vio, and they can take advantage of 27 better than Tomo can. Yes, you can argue Tomo has good 27s. It helps their cycle S3, sure. But in the sake of filling your draft appropriately with the current runes you have, Swift really does fill those gaps quite well. Cigar, again, you were saying a Cigar. Cigar's a good example.
he can
If
be
he's
Swift, yeah, for sure.
He can be Swift, no problem. If he's like, let's say you need a Shizuka counter because you don't own a Shizuka, Shizuka's giving you a headache. Rune your Cigar on Swift. Have him move in front of everybody, move right after, let's say, your stripper if needed, just to be in that proper tuning spot. Like
Yeah.
is Cigar better on Vio in long-term games?
Of course, everything is.
But yes, oh yeah, but reality is not everybody has Thompson's runes where everything
exactly. That's exactly it. Like,
and you can easily beat Thompson. Let's say if you draft appropriately, Thompson has a full LD draft. Everything's 280s, 290s, but you're rooting Swift. But your Swift comp matches his speeds, and you just don't get 15%. 15% sucks, but it's
or
gonna
Vertihiled.
Or Vertihiled. It won't matter whether you're a Swift
Thompson.
or Vio. If you miss, you miss. If you land,
It's
you
still
land.
in my replays.
Hey.
A little bit.
How dare you, Thompson?
I hope you pick this in SWC and he doesn't revenge. That's what I hope.
Ooh.
I hope Thompson.
You were rooting for him.
I am rooting for him, but I hope if he picks this versus Big V or whatever, whoever he ends up fighting, I think it's Big V. I hope if he picks this, it doesn't revenge.
Big V is crazy.
But yeah, I mean, the other unit too that I see a lot of people have like way out of whack tuning wise, because it's also a unit that everyone and their dog like forces onto violent, is Dominic. Like, for the longest time, my Dominic was just Swift with plus 2500 attack just to set up nukes. Like, I was running a much more aggressive comp. But like sometimes I fight people and their Dominic's like clearly 10 to 15 speed faster than their Molong, and I just go right in between, and it's like, what is going on? Like, just put one of them on Swift. Like, Swift Molong's fine. Get like 40k health and go on Swift. Fuck it. Like, just get your stuff together, moving together, especially if it's a nuke comp. But like,
tuning, your turn order is number one priority.
Yeah, and how close they are too. Like,
yes, well, that's what I mean by that. But that's otherwise you're just like, it's no point. Like, I take like me, I'm punished way too often by having my Tessa slower than my Tomo. It's killing me. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have any more Will or Vio runes to throw on him. I should have him on Swift to be at the appropriate speed so he's tuned, and then I benefit from him. I don't benefit from this idiot on Swift unless I Tomo S2 into his S1 or 2, and then I Tomo S3. But I get cut most of the time in between if I don't have any other bar control that happens. So why decrease my likelihood of success by forcing this idiot on Vio when I can have him on Swift in front of my Tomo, and then Tomo can AoE Oblivion?
Yeah, because in that situation you don't need a Tesla proc anyway. It wouldn't do anything. Like,
no, I just need the Oblivion to land. Yeah, yes, a Bio gives me a chance to, if I miss the first one, to land it the second time. But be realistic, you never land it the second time.
Yeah, you could still miss it the second time, or you could just flat out not proc and not even have that chance. But I run into a similar issue too, though, because like Moore is such a shit can when it comes to actually stripping and pushing back. And ever since I used to have Cigar like 2 speed below him, a little bit more after the speed lead because he's got quite a bit of a lead on him. But ever since I split his and Praha's runes, like my Cigar is actually quite a bit lower, and like it's still only a 8 speed gap. I get cut in that 8 speed gap if Moore fucks up all the time. Like, so I might fix that eventually. I might either ditch Praha or maybe, I don't know. Dude,
Praha's a mixed bag because there's so much ragdoll.
Yeah, I gotta get them somewhere. Yeah,
Praha is phenomenal, but then ragdoll It's not phenomenal. It just
Yeah. If you
hurts you
pick
more.
her early, you get punished by units like Ragdoll. If you pick her
Yeah.
late, she usually just ends up being the force ban. And
Yeah.
once again, like I said about force bans, it's like, okay, she did you a favor in getting banned, your other 4 units get through, but she's also not doing anything for you if she's constantly getting banned
Yeah.
versus these Mashas and shit. Like, you kind of want her in there doing
Yeah.
stuff.
It's a
But,
shame.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
force your tuning better. Whether you have to use a Swift set or if you have the odd I think my neck
anything. Throw something
accuracy
on
might be my
Vampire, throw something on
yeah.
fucking Fatal. Who knows? Like,
Your
if
two sets is what I'm saying. Don't underestimate your two
yeah,
sets.
that too. Get a
Where's
random
my
ass Nem set or Revenge or don't do Destroy.
yeah? I was thinking, where's my? I think accuracy. I have some ridiculous runes that are accuracy.
Yeah,
It doesn't hurt to have like an extra 10 accuracy for everybody on the team, right?
yep,
Like I have it. No, where is it? Like I have this 20 I never use. I have
yep,
this. I have this like a random ones I can just fill the speed and
yep.
combo with other ones. Use them. Why not? I love focus. I wish I had better focus runes, but I'm lacking so badly on them.
Yeah, my focus rates suck too.
Focus as an offset with
It's
will, like this
keeping
thing.
my segments like slow because like I don't have the accuracy if I don't go focus set, but my
Ah,
second focus rune sucks, so kind of screwed.
yeah. So I guess that's the most educational podcast we've ever done for you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it
You're welcome.
it all came from us learning that just
Okay.
in this past
Yeah.
week or so.
It's more like a reminder because I feel like we forget this kind of thing because like some seasons we're like just stomping, right? Just
Yeah,
because we had the
because
right units at the right time.
I
But
just
then like
don't think it's true for every season. You know, I
yeah,
think other seasons when there's like a lot less overpowered units, you do just kind of grab your overpowered ones, load them with runes, force them on Vile, force them on Will, and that's just how you play. I just don't think this is one of those seasons. Like,
yeah.
it's very
You need
counterpick heavy.
you need a variety in your box to really work, and the best way to address variety at a proper speed is obviously a swift set. And
Yep.
the odd like random offset that you never use. Oh, I have this. I don't care. I'll say it's destroy. Let's say I have a destroy, the most insane two set destroy that's at 30 speed. Well, throw it on.
Fuck it.
Like
Put it on your Escher. You'll shred
if
something's
it gets you to the
HP. Yeah.
speed that you need to be on, destroy's not the absolute worst set on earth. In RTA,
It
it's under
it
there,
does all
but
right versus like Molly and stuff because like most healers in this game heal based on a percentage of the unit's health. So not only are you reducing what they can be healed up to, but you also reduce how much they get healed by. That
yeah,
doesn't. It's really hard to stack up because you got to be hitting fucking hard to actually like get a good amount stacked up. But
yeah.
it's not nothing. It's better than a broken set.
Like for me, for my Escher, I remember I got this rune first. No, I got this rune first. My slot 3. I'm like, okay, this is a sick energy rune. Not because it's energy, it's the stats in general. I'm like, well, what unit do I own that really loves to have high HP? Oh, my Escher. So I was like chasing to have one more random energy rune to give him the extra 15 because he has nutty base HP. He
Yeah,
benefits from having higher HP.
yeah, it does
And
damage based on it.
right, everything is just better to have. So why would I force Will? Yes, you could argue Will is the better offset, but nobody, very few people in this game have an insane Will rune. Mine is actually pretty good compared to a lot of people, and I still can afford to force him on Will. And I would like have forcing energy as a two set is great, and focus is my not second favorite. Focus might be next to Blade, equal in terms of best two set in the game, because giving an extra 20 accuracy is insane. And then Blade crit rate is so important nowadays if you're running these odd Swift units. So if you have those runes at an insane speed already and you never use them just because it's not a Via will or a Despair will or even a Swift will, imagine if you have a 4 set Blade or 2 sets and then you put on will and it's at the speed you need to be, you just gain 24 crit rate
Yeah,
and
and
it's
you're
at the right
tuned.
speed.
Yeah,
If you have those runes, so many people are living in giants, they're not getting Swift, but you must be getting, you
something.
know, so you must be getting something.
Yeah,
Because my fatal runes are insane. I wish I could use fatal more.
Yeah, my
I
guard
have some.
runes are freaking ridiculous because I'm a
Yeah.
dragon stan. I have the most
Oh,
ridiculous guard runes
just
ever.
put your Varad on double guard will, unstoppable right there.
I can almost get a plus 200 on just triple guard.
Oh, but there you go. Man,
It's
oh
so
man, look at this
stupid.
Swift Varad. No, sorry, it's on
Nope,
triple guard.
triple
What?
guard. Well, because I farm Calderon too, which gives me ancient guard, so I have a couple of crazy ancient guard runes. It's like guard rune king. I don't know why.
For
But
me, it was coincidentally will runes by some dumb luck, I guess. But yeah, I don't. I
yeah, but
think.
you still don't have this will rune. Sucks to suck. Yeah, but all right, we can end it there. We're already at
Well,
like an hour 10.
hour 10? Oh
Yeah,
my! You should have
I know
ended it a
that.
long time.
I know that was a long time.
Oh, I
I
just
lost track.
fatal. I'm running fatal Zerath, or sorry, not Zerath, Zyros in
That's-
RTA. I'm ruining it right now. It's gonna be
Oh,
insane.
I thought you were like talking about your Zyros right there, and I was like, that is not on Fatal. What the
Yeah.
fuck are you talking
No,
about?
but it will be for
Oh,
RTA.
okay.
So now I get insane cooldowns.
Perfect.
Look at that.
Uh,
No one, no, right? You can't tell me I'm wrong. Look at this. I'm telling you, I have the best fatal sets on it. Wait, is this? I don't think this is. Yeah, this still needs to be a 5.
Oh my god. All right. Well,
All
thank
right,
you guys
good
for
night.
watching. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Subscribe, especially if you've made it an hour and 11 minutes into this video. Click that shit, dog. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Peace out.
Peace.